Okay, in this lesson, I want to explain the material in simlab composer. The material in simlab composer is very easy and straightforward. It has no any complex settings. It's very easy. Okay, I explain it with this object first, or that object. It's not important. As I said before, when you click in any object, we have main three tab here: object, transform, and the material. I want to explain the material, and of course we have a big tab and not very huge, but I think enough material in material library of the software. You can choose any material and you can scroll down, or you can add your material to simlab material categories. First, you can explore the materials and use the material that you want, and you don't need to make a material and change very complex setting. But I explained that. We have two main things: texture, as you can see, for example, this texture, and the material. The material, we have, for example, glass material, metal material, plastic or subsurface scattering, or clouds material, or emitter. Those are material of the object. For example, this is a default. When you click it, this is a default material. As you can see, when you hit F4, we have nothing, and it's a default and everything's right. If you go glass, it turns to the glass. First, an important thing I want to say: when you go into the render setting, in default, the renderer is in a path tracer, and the number of the render max depth, as I said before, it's 1. I don't know why, but it's in the default. When you hit render, as you can see, it has very bad rendering in the glass because the max renderer is in a 1. I think the simlab composer wants to be rendered fast, but if you want to render glass and reflection and the metal, you have to increase this number to the higher number to render better the glasses and metal reflection. So increase the number. And after that, if you have F4 and render, as you can see, we have a nice render for glass. As you can see, if you change it to the glass type, it's turned to the glass and everything is nice in software, render straightforward and fast. This is a thin glass. As you can see, if you make it to the glass, we have a little edge here, it's a thickness here. But if you make it to the thin glass, we have a thin glass here. If you want to, for example, if you are in a glass, if you want to light the passes, as you can see, it has a little shadow and it's not correct. You can say passes light through the glass. As you can see, we have no shadow there, but it has a more reflection and a refraction. This is matte. It's no reflection. This means matte. The metal, if you select a metal or any type of material, its settings will be changed here. If you change the metal, you can, for example, make it to the matte. I want to explain the metal with this object. Here we have a metal. You can change any type of the metal in a metal type here. For example, if you want to gold metal, if aluminum or gold or silver or any type of material that you want, you can select it. If you want to mirror, it's completely changed to the mirror, but here you can change the color of that mirror here. We have an alpha. If you turn down the alpha, you can see the object and the back object of that object. This is an alpha. You can use it. So this is an alpha. It's very useful in a VR. We use it a lot in the material. Keep in mind your alpha. And in the metallic paint, this is a metallic paint. You can, this is a metallic paint. I will explain more for car paint. I mean, car paint uses metallic paint. Another type is plastic. and subsurface scattering, I will explain it, and the velvet and emitter. I will explain them more in a this lesson. Okay, when you selected the default, as you can see, or here in a category, I want to create my material. Okay, for creating that, here you can click on this icon and you can add a new category. For example, my math number 1 or anything. If you hit OK and hit OK, and here your category my material. For creating a new material, you have to click on this plus icon, and here you can create your new material. For this creating new material, I want to create a wood floor. As you can see, this is a texture of my material. This is a texture. And this is a normal and a bump or a roughness. The normal map is something like this in this color. It distribute the color light distribution of the surface, and you can see you can simulate the bumpiness of the object, and it looks like 3D, but it is a fake. The real changing the height of the object is displacement map, and this is a bump map or roughness. What is the bump map? It is a like black and white color. In the 3D softwares, the white means that you can execute 100% of that things, and the black is 0% of that things will be executed. It means the white area is go up and the black area is go down, and the gray in between is in between them, and you can mimic the bumpiness of the object. Okay, in this new material, I click on this plus icon. We have the tabs here for a texture, the bump for making the height. You can use the grayscale or that's normal maps here. As you can see, they are turned off, but use these two objects if you want, because it is in a default material. You can use any material that you want. For example, I want matte. No, as you can see, if you make a matte and normal map, and opacity will be turned off, we can use it more. If you click on this plus icon, I navigate this folder to my folder to select that texture. Okay, I choose this texture and it's add here. As you can see, the file name is here, and you can scale it. You can simply click and drag it on this folder and here. Okay, sorry. In a scale U and a scale V, you can change the scale of the object. As you can see, a scale of the texture in any direction that you want. See there? You can scale it. For seeing the scale, it's better to explain the scale with this object, with this material. As you can see, we have a square material here. Here you can change the scale U. As you can see, it's scaling in this direction, or type any number, or scaling in this direction. As you can see, you can use it. Okay, if you hit render, as you can see, we have a texture here and we have a normal map. You have to select a normal map here. What is in this normal map? You can go in this file. This is our normal map. For example, if you hit render, as you can see it is like a 3D, but it's a fake 3D. Because of the normal map, it tries to make it 3D, and it is very fast to render. But if you make it a real displacement, we have need lots of polygon to simulate that bumpiness here. Okay, this is a normal map. You can use it, or you can add a bump map, that grayscale image. As you can see here in offset, you can offset the or transform the texture in any direction that you want. As you can see, this lux icon means that if you change the scale of the texture, it has to be change the normal scale as well. Like, for example, if you change it to the 2, if it remain to the 1, it's missed the height map or the normal map. It has to be exactly like each other. It's very important. If you don't want, you can unlock them if you want. So any change on the texture has to be effect on a normal, the same number. It's very important. As you can see, the offset and anything will be, if you, for example, change the scale in a 3, the normal map will be changed its scale to exactly in 3. And that's nice. Okay, and it's an alpha, and you can add a reflection here if you want, and the roughness, I will explain it in a reflection. Okay, this is our normal map and the bomb map. For example, going to the another type of the material, glass. This is a glass. In a glass, you can add any texture that you want, but I want to mention something in this. If you go into the environment and turn on the sun, turn off the HDRI. If you hit F4, as you can see, this is glass, but we have a bad shadow and dark shadow behind it. You can select it, and if you want, you can pass a slide to delete that shadow, but you can add the opacity map here. The opacity is exactly like the alpha. The opacity map, I choose this map. Turn off the render. I choose this map. As you can see, it's from the white to the black. As I said before, this is a black and white color code. The white means the opacity is 100% and the black is 0% of the opacity. And if you render, you can see the shadow in a white part of the this glass. We have 100% opacity, and in the other part and in the gray between, it's take the opacity down to the 0, and the light can pass more, and we have less shadow at the behind. So you can control your shadow, your color in the sun mode with opacity, or you can tell line passes, or you can you can add the completely, for example, if you want black to 0% of the opacity. For example, I given the black grayscale this map. Let's see. Turn it down. As you can see, I give this gray color here and hit F4 to render. And as you can see, we have less shadow behind that glass to compare this shadow here. If this color goes to the black, we have less shadow, but it's very important, and you cannot see anymore this glass because its opacity going turn to the 0. So pay attention to that. Okay, this is a glass behavior. Another setting in the glass is IOR. What is the IOR? Here is IOR. In IOR, we have something called refraction. As you can see, this is a refraction, the refraction of the light in the, for example, water. And this is an IOR number. In any IOR, we have something like this. In a real world, we have the material like air, crystal, diamond, or glass, ice. Any object, any material has its own IOR number here. If you select any IOR number here, you can simulate the glass, simulate the air, and diamond glass that you want. This is, we have an inside IOR and outside IOR. You can change the number to that. Okay, you can if you add a texture to this map, you can, by clicking on this cross icon, you can delete that. If I hit F4 to render, as you can see, we have a clean glass. You can change the roughness, and we have a more rough grassy, as you can see. You can change the roughness, we have more. And we have lots of nice glass material. If you want to go into the glass, we have the clean foggy texture glass, as you can see. For example, this texture glass, you can add it. It has a texture on it. It has a bump and normal and opacity. It's nice. It has lots of texture on it. You can explore these textures and review its settings and learn a lot of things. It has a texture. You can add a texture. As you can see, we have a different opacity map for passing the colors or lights. As you can see, if you turn the passes light, and we have a bump for bump of the texture and the normal. If I go into the to the glass material, you can add just a normal map. You can add a clean. Okay, in a normal map, you can add a normal map. For example, I want to add this normal map to the glass. To see the normal map, you have to render. As you can see, with this normal map, I can simulate this texture on the glass without any color texture here. It looks like it's a 3D glass, and you can change the scale that you want. So you can just add a normal map to your glass, and it looks like a 3D glass at one. As you can see, it is a fake 3D. It has no any bump here. It's not real 3D. It's a fake 3D which you can make with normal and a bump in this glass. Okay, this is a glass. Another this is a thin glass. Okay, we have just IOR and a thickness. You can delete that normal map. We have a matte, not interesting setting, not important. The metal, you can change the roughness of the metal, the scale, the strength of the, as you can see, if you go in any map, you have a different settings here, but there are almost like there. You can change the type of your metal. It's very easy. In a mirror, you can make a mirror material in your project if you want. As you can see, it's a real mirror. It's a metallic paint. If you added the metallic paint, I want to explain it with this. Going and change it to the metallic paint. It's exactly like this. You can simulate that texture on a car, that paint on the car with a metallic paint. Here you can change the main color, for example, a red. And if I hit F4 to render, as you can see, this is an metallic paint. For better seeing the metallic paints, I turn the HDRI. It's nice, and as you can see better. These blur or wash is the flakes. You can click it. This is on code. You can change the color code of that color. For example, it's the same exactly that color. You can change the color code of that, or you can change the flakes color exactly like a main color. And as you can see, we have a more natural paint, metallic paint here. As you can see, we have little flakes here. You can change the size of the flakes or amount of the coverage. And as you can see in the flakes, You can make it a brighter flex to see better, as you can see. This is a variation of depth and the angle. If you change the size of the flex, as you can see, we have a bigger flex here. It's a random of the color, random of the rotation. It's mimic the flex simulation. You can turn it down to the lower number. And this is a paint. It's very metallic paint, plastic subsurface scattering. I want to explain subsurface scattering. What is subsurface scattering? Look at these images. This is in a candle. You can see the subsurface scattering material as a candle. It passes the light and you can see the light in the object. Or for example, this ear. This is subsurface scattering material. You can add it, for example, in this candle. Going to the environment and turn all the sources off. For simulate the candle, for example, this wick candle wick, you can give the emitter material. For example, we have not any source material here, as you can see. If you hit F4, it's dark. When you select that plane and change it to the emitter, as you can see, it emits the lights and we have a more light seen, and you can change the emission with the power of that emission here. As you can see, this is this with a glow. You can simulate the glow of that color up to make it brighter, but the glow is just added glow texture on the material. You can turn down or to reduce or increase or decrease the number of the power of the emission with the emission part here. Okay, this is subsurface scattering. Okay, going to the plastic and we have no light here. I add the subsurface, or I add the emitter to this candle wick here. Get an emitter, so turn the power up and the glow. Okay, as you can see, this candle wick is inside of the this candle, and if you going to turn all of the source off and make it to emitter, power up the light and the glow, and as you can see, if we render, it just render up the surface of that candle. But if I change the material of that candle to subsurface scattering, as you can see, it passed the light through the object. It turned to subsurface scattering. Because of the transmission coefficient, you can change the coefficient or amount of this light passes. You can change the reflection coefficient or absorption coefficient. Here you can change the color of the candle, for example, to the candle color. As you can see, the light goes past through this object. This is on subsurface scattering, and we have a very simple setting here. You can add it. What are those settings? Going to this example here. As you can see, we have two regular objects and subsurface scattering object. In a regular object, if the light, for example, emit in this direction, we have a regular reflection, opacity, reflection, diffuse reflection of the object, and it looks like this, regular object. But if you change the material to the subsurface scattering, because of the absorption coefficient or transmission coefficient, the light goes through the object, for example, till this position, and then reflection. This is a reflection coefficient, and we have something like this. You can change the coefficient to more absorption of color or transmission of the color and make a different subsurface scattering material with these coefficients. And another type of the material is a velvet. You can change it to the velvet, and we have the color of the velvet and the settings. It's very straightforward. This is on velvet material in a for cloth rendering. We have two color, main color of the velvet, and this specular or the reflection, a shiny part of the velvet. You can change it. This is an main color, and this is an scattering color, or that reflection on the velvet. Going to the material in the classes, the fabric, we have the velvet category. You can add any velvet on your class if you want. Okay, this is the material of the simlab composer. It has a very simple setting, and it's a very nice and quality material. You can use it. You can use all of these material, explore them, and you can change its settings and know what are those settings, and it's very simple.
Hello my friends, to continue these tutorials on YouTube, subscribe us, like us, and hit the bell icon. And now you will be alerted about all of the amazing videos that we release.